Hey guys, I'm Chef D-Max. Welcome to my kitchen, and today we're going to do a really fun butternut squash risotto. I think you're going to like this for the holidays, and I hope you enjoy it. Click subscribe if you're not doing that. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and ring that bell, and I'll send you new stuff I have coming up. So I'll see you back with risotto. Okay, you guys, we're back in the kitchen. So for a risotto, one of the main things about risotto, I had risotto when I was in Florence, Italy. I used to live there in the late 80s, and it was really the coolest thing that I saw was the risotto, because we didn't have that in the States at that time. And if you did, you only had it in super fine dining restaurants in New York. So with it, what makes it special is the creaminess that you get from developing the starch in the rice. So I'm going to turn this on really quick so we can get this started. So when we make this kind of pumpkin or butternut squash or whatever holiday pumpkin you're going to use to make your risotto, what we want to do is cook the risotto separate from the pumpkin, from most of the pumpkin, I should say, because I don't want to mess up the texture. So, and I'll explain more as we go along. So here, you can see I've diced up my butternut squash really nice, and I'm going to put some nice extra virgin olive oil in my pan here and let it warm up, okay? And while it's warming up, I'm gonna just toss my squash in there. Now while that squash is tossed in there and just kind of gonna start to saute, right? I'll show you how we clean this. So we have got this squash right here, and I just wanna scoop it like this. You guys can see I take a spoon, scoop that right out. Let's just put it right into my bowl here, all the inner side. Now most of you have carved a pumpkin, so you know exactly what I'm talking about here, okay? So that's nothing new, right? I took the top part of the butternut squash, and it was easy to dice like this, but I'll show you how we do even these corner pieces. So with this, I'm gonna cut around the outsides of it to cut out the kind of hard exterior skin on this, right? Just be careful not to cut yourself, you know, because it is kind of hard to cut, and you have to be just slow and gentle, right? So with that, you want to, from that point, what I do is I cut it straight down now, and then I cut it straight down again. So we have the same size, bite-sized pieces. So what I do with this is I'm gonna dice up a little of this pumpkin like this. I do it by these slices. You see how I do these slices like this? And then I'm gonna lay the slices down like this, okay? A few at a time, not too many at a time, right? And then I just cut those. And like, we have a little cut like this, okay? And now that's gonna go in here with these. That's how I cut all of these, okay? It's easier with the end piece because you don't have the hole, and you can cut a perfect block and cut your slices from that. So that's super easy, okay? With this, you can see, it's still nice, right? Still nice little shape. And then they're gonna saute up and turn out really tasty. So I want to put a little salt in that, and I'm going to put a little ground pepper in that, okay? So that's super simple like that, okay? Salt, pepper, a little bit more olive oil, because in a risotto you can't have, well, you can have too much olive oil, but so now I'm going to take these extra scrap cuts here. I could dice those and put them in there, but I want to have a little bit inside of my risotto. So what I'm going to do is put my pumpkin in here like this, and I'm going to put some white wine. So I've got just a Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, okay, like a little half cup, like actually it's probably like a cup, okay? And I'm going to blend this, okay, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, here is my puree. You guys, can you see how beautiful that looks? It's just beautiful orange wine puree from the pumpkin and the wine. And we're gonna use that when we do our risotto. Risotto is very simple. It's just sauteing shallots or onions, and then adding the rice, and then adding a wine, cook the wine down, adding a stock, whether it's chicken stock or water, depending on if you're vegetarian or not. And then we're gonna bring it together. So it's super simple process. Now with this, what I'm gonna do with all these pieces is that if you put all of these pieces of pumpkin in your pumpkin risotto, right, there'd be a rice, a pumpkin, a rice, a pumpkin, and you would never get that creaminess that the risotto gets from having it cooked together all as one. Okay, so whenever you're cooking a risotto like that, try to put less inside of it. It can be a flavor, it can be a liquid, it can be an herb, a spice, like that, but always kind of leave your chunky stuff. So don't make a vegetable risotto with all your vegetables in it. Make your risotto by itself with just an herb, and then cook your vegetables or roast your vegetables separate and put those with it, on the top of it, next to it, however, but don't put it inside and cook it all inside there, because you're never going to get the beautiful texture of the risotto. So with this, you're going to see, like while I let this continue to cook, right, I'm going to taste them, right? Still a little firm, right? I want to cook it down a little bit. So while that cooks down, right, I'm going to get my onions ready for my risotto. So you can see I have some diced up onion here. Here's another half of that onion. That was half. What we do, we slice it straight down, about 3/4, maybe even a little bit farther than 3/4 of the way through, straight down. Then I come back and I do a horizontal cut like this, right? And with that horizontal cut, we're going to do probably, how is that? 3, this is 4, so it's 5 times, right? And then you want to shave your onion like this off. And you get this nice, really small diced onion. And then we're going to use this onion to put this in our pumpkin risotto. Now, if you have a shallot, that's nice too, because it's really small and it's kind of easier to dice. So I've got my mound of shallots here. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to start my risotto. So with this, you can see, right, my pumpkin is like really cooking. We don't want it to get mushy. We just want it to cook down a little like this. Okay, and now I'm going to put a little bit of maple syrup in it, real maple syrup for sweetness. In that little holiday spirit, right? You've got that beautiful flavor. I'm going to mix that around in here. Now, if you leave that sit in here for too long, it's going to burn, but my pumpkin's almost done. So the liquidiness of that maple syrup is going to reduce down. My squash is going to get coated here. I want to taste it. Now it's getting perfect. It's a little al dente. I'm going to put a little bit more salt on it. Needs a little bit more salt. Okay, mix it up. And now all I want to do with this is cover it and remove it. So I'm going to take this, put a cover on it, right? And just set it to the side. Okay, let it finish cooking like that, soft on its own. Then I'm going to start my risotto here. Now, with my risotto, I'm going to start with my oil, extra virgin olive oil on this, okay? And I'm going to put my onions in there. If you don't want to use onion in it, you don't have to. You could use sliced garlic, would be nice in there too, or minced garlic. But in this, I'm going to keep it kind of simple, so I'm just going to do the onion flavor and then the pumpkin on top. We're going to serve it with a little salad of arugula as well. Gives you a nice kind of freshness, and it's also a little bit, arugula is always a little spicy. It's kind of nice. So you got this pumpkin that's, and the maple that's a little sweet, and you have the spicy. So at this point, I just want to cook this down. I want to cook this down for about 3 to 4 minutes till this are fully translucent, and then we're going to add in our wine and pumpkin puree. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit. Hey guys, a couple minutes later, you can see how these onions are getting kind of nice and translucent. That's what I want. They've got a nice amount of extra virgin olive oil in there, which is great, you know, because what we want to do is coat that rice with this oil too. So this onion, we're going to let this continue to kind of cook like this, right? And then I'm going to take my risotto rice and I'm just going to put that in there. Boom, like that. Okay? And with the onions now, I want to turn this risotto all around, coat them really nice, let them absorb this. Now you can use an arborio rice, cannaroli. There's just look for Italian risotto rice. Probably going online sometimes the easiest way to find a nice rice. I'll have it delivered right to your house. But otherwise, you can look in kind of your specialty grocery store. You know, some of the generic grocery stores don't have a nice risotto. So you want to look for a good Italian risotto. Look for the desert. If it's from Italy, you know it's going to be better, okay? So with this, you can see my rice is all coated now. It's beautiful. That's when we add in our wine and our pumpkin, okay? And I'm going to add a little salt. We want this to be cooked with salt as well. I'm going to add in some pepper, okay? Okay, to give it a little bit of spice. Not a lot of spice, it's just black pepper. So we're adding our wine in and our puree in. And that's it. Now, one of the keys to risotto is after we cook this flavor of the wine out, which we're going to do right now, it's going to kind of just evaporate, right, as this pumpkin continues to cook. The pumpkin puree is actually going to give this even a more creamy texture than normal. So this risotto will have even more of a creaminess than your normal risotto that wouldn't have that texture added to it by the pumpkin puree. But you don't want to use like a canned pumpkin puree in this. That's no bueno. Okay, use a really nice pumpkin, whether you use a butternut squash, you use a kabocha pumpkin's really nice. Those are those Japanese green ones on the outside, and inside they're really dark orange. Those are beautiful too. So with this, you just don't want to let this rice, you know, we're at a high heat here. I don't want to let this rice just sit. We're always kind of moving it, right? That's the only downside about risotto, you guys. Is risotto is kind of a dish that you make when your friends come over. You sit here and have your wine, have all your stuff already diced up, throw it together like I am here, one hand with your wine and one hand stirring. And that's okay, you can have fun with it, right? There's not a lot to do, but you do have to stir. So, well, you're gonna keep stirring this like this, right? And we had the raw pumpkin. You might be asking yourself, that's when this is cooking. This is cooking in here now. If you wanted more orange flavor from this, you could put a little teaspoon of turmeric in. That'll make it really even darker orange. It's up to you if you want to really have a pumpkin-y looking like risotto. You can do that, but you don't have to, okay? Now, what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna add in water. Now, I'm not using a chicken stock. I wanna keep this vegetarian. We'll have cheese in it, but there'll be no meat products. But if you don't care about that, chicken stock's always really nice. So use a nice chicken stock in this. It'll give it a real richness, especially during the holidays, okay? So with the water has to be hot. You see how my water's hot? It's coming around in my tea kettle. Okay, it's not a cold water, okay? And that's important because when you're cooking, if I put that much cold water in, it slows the whole process down. We saved ourselves 5 minutes probably by having that water be hot, okay? So we're gonna add in, and that's probably like a cup and a half. It was like a cup of rice. This is probably a cup and a half of water, but this is different. You know, the beauty about risotto rice is you're cooking it as you're going. So the big key is don't put in too much water. Put in a little water, a little water, a little water until it's done, and then you know to stop, okay? So in the beginning like this, you can put in like a little bit bigger amount. And again, you want to continue to keep stirring it like this, okay, like I'm doing. And then once you do that, and it reduces down. Now I'm going to turn it down just slightly. It doesn't have to be that blazing high, okay, but it needs to be medium high, okay? And we want to stir it. So if you don't have a tea kettle, just bring some water to boil. Or if you have chicken stock, put it on there, bring it to a boil, and that'll be beautiful, okay? So now I'm just going to let this cook down for about, I don't know, for about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to add another probably cup of water to it because this is going to take probably about 10 minutes for this rice to get to where we need it. And I'm going to show you how we finish it. Okay, guys, we're back. It's been about 15 minutes, and you can see like I've let the water kind of reduce down in this. You guys can see the texture of this, right? It's not super firm. It's a little soft, right? And that's where I want it to be at this point because what I want to add in now is I want to add in butter. So for this amount, for this cup, I'm putting in a lot of butter. This is probably a half a stick of butter, okay? We're not putting cream in there. I never put cream in risotto. I always put butter and cheese. That's the only two things I put in. They're going to give us a nice creaminess, okay? with that, we're going to put in our cheese. You can use Parmesan, you can use Pecorino Romano. Those are the two. I would not use anything else. Okay, use a nice Parmesan is kind of the classic. Okay, but you could use Pecorino. Remember, Pecorino Romano can be saltier and drier. Okay, which is fine. That's why I have a lot of butter in there. If I'm going to put a lot of butter in, if I use that type of cheese, because I know it's not going to be as creamy as the Parmesan. Parmesan is made from cow's milk, and Pecorino Romano is made from sheep's milk. So sheep's milk is a lot drier. Okay, so at this point, I want to taste it for flavor. Look at that. See how beautiful that's come together? And that's perfect. I want to just turn it off and let the residual heat keep it going. Now, a good risotto, you don't overdo it like that. I have some arugula here, and I'm going to take a squeeze of lime on my arugula. Okay, or lemon. Excuse me, it's lemon time. That citrus time in the winter is lemon, so we use lemon, and then just salt and lemon. Okay, now I'm going to take my risotto. I have a beautiful plate right here. Actually, let me do this. Let me move the plate to the dish. A lot smarter, right? So I'm going to put, a nice couple spoonfuls of my risotto on per person, right? Move it around. You see how flat that is? That's how you want it. Risotto should be flat. Shouldn't be able to bulk it up in the center here. Look at that. Okay. Then I'm going to take my beautiful pumpkin that I have here and goes right in the center of that. You see how that is? Beautiful. And then I'm going to finish it off with a wonderful arugula salad on the side. How perfect is that? This risotto, so tasty, so pumpkiny. See how the risotto kept its integrity. You can see how creamy that looks, right? Then you get the pumpkin on top. It's got the sweetness from the maple, gives you really that holiday feeling. The nice spicy salad of arugula with that. Fantastic dish. You guys are going to love this. Do this for your friends and family during the holidays. They're going to love it, okay? So come back to my kitchen and see me soon. I'm Chef Team Max. Hope you enjoy it.